Hey, what's going on, my Jets family? How you guys doing out there? First I want to thank you guys. I want to thank you guys for tuning in to the Take Flight Spit and Fire podcast, being here with me, Harrison Glazer, as we talk about them Jets. And thank you guys for being here. Thank you for tuning in. Let's get into it. Let's talk about them New York Jets. If you haven't yet, got some people here already. Got Michael. Appreciate you guys. Michael said our QB had quite a weekend. That's what we're going to talk about. So one of the things we're going to talk about a bunch of stuff. As you guys know, it's a conversation. So please, bring your comments, bring any ideas you have, bring anything you're thinking, and let your friends know. Let them, let them know. Bring them in here. We'll all be part of the conversation. So got a Dark Soldier Boy out there. Appreciate you, my man, Yelling Crew. Excuse me. Appreciate all you guys out there. And again, bring your comments. We're going to talk about it as we go. I want to hear what you guys think. Tell me if you agree with me. You can tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm crazy. I'll throw it up. We'll talk about it. I got as much facts as I could. If I'm missing something, let me know. Throw it up as well. We will talk about it. But again, appreciate you guys being here. Appreciate you tuning in. First thing, if possible, if you haven't, if you could just subscribe to the channel, you could do so by clicking on the logo in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. That'd be very much appreciated. So let's jump into two rumors. Two rumors that yesterday took Jets Twitter by storm, right? I mean, I heard about what happened. We're going to get into it. I'm quickly going to say I don't really believe it. I don't know if it's 100% true. And we're going to discuss it. And I see you guys coming in. Thank you for being here again. Bring your comments, anything you're thinking, let me know. We'll chat it out. But the story we're going to be talking about, and again, took over all yesterday, right? I'll just mute my phone. My apologies, guys. I'll do that now. Don't want to interrupt this again. And again, bring your comments. Let me know what's going on. But the story was Zach Wilson, and I say allegedly slept with his mom's best friend, says his ex, right? Says his ex-girlfriend, Abigail. So as the story, there's whole bunch of moving parts to it, but they'd broken up a while ago. Apparently, Abigail is now dating Zach Wilson's former BYU teammate, Washington Commanders wide receiver, Dax Milne. So she's now with him. We don't know. There's stories of how it was left. It's all, social media, everything is blown out of proportion. Maybe there was a bitter taste, with everything going on. We don't 100% know. But yesterday on social media, there was pictures of Zach Wilson on Instagram first about him with a new person, a new love, right? And that came to Twitter, where some accounts like U Stadium, pointed out, well, what could this be, And then on that account, that was kind of the whole point. I see a bunch of you guys here. Iowa Jets fan, appreciate you, my man. Appreciate you. Dark soldiers. Yeah, we're all here. We're all here. We'll talk it up. We'll talk it up, man. But the story is interesting, right? So first, it starts on Instagram. Zach Wilson's girl. There's a picture of Zach Wilson posted with a new woman, right? And people are saying, future love, we don't know. And then it goes to, U Stadium on Twitter. Abigail actually posts on his thing. And I have the exact quote because she removed it. She wound up removing it. In a since deleted comment, she said, well, Zach Wilson was sleeping with his mom's best friend because they were talking about homie hopper. That was the joke, that Zach Wilson's a homie hopper. So there's a whole mess to it. Again, Dark Soldier, new phone, who dis? That's funny, man. Yeah, what's going on? Where are we? But I'll be honest, I don't 100% believe it. I mean, we're going to talk about if it is true. Honestly, the biggest thing, and of course, even if it is true or isn't true, we're going to talk about, that in a sec. But first, I don't 100% believe it because it's coming from his ex-girlfriend who could be scorned, could be just joking around, right? The comment was since deleted. And, it varies. I mean, Zach could do something like that potentially. I mean, I'm not the kid. That's the point. Like, we look at it that way too. Like, I'm not the kid. I don't know what's going on in his head. We don't know the exact situation. It's allegedly, right? But again, I look at the fact that it's coming from his ex-girlfriend, right? It's coming from someone, he's not in a relationship with anymore. Again, could have been scorned, not happy. There's the old saying, right? Hell has no fury like a woman scorned, right? So it could be that, right? Excuse me. And again, appreciate all you guys out there. Appreciate tuning in. Bring your comments. Let me know, if I'm missing anything with the story. I'll make sure I'm not missing anything. But right, that's like the main gist, right? Like that the Instagram story happened, right? And he's posted with somebody new. And they're like, the term homie hopper comes about, right? That he's bouncing around between women. And we could talk about that for a second because some people like that. We look back to Broadway Joe. He was good with the ladies, right? That was a big thing with Broadway Joe. He had the pretty ladies all around him. He had swagger. He had a thing, a chemistry, I guess, too, might say. Zach Wilson, we've seen the same thing, right? He tends to be always surrounded by pretty women. So, and bring your guys' comments here. Let me know what you're thinking. If you have any, so, but you look at that, and I mean, so yeah, so that's an interesting thing right there, right? You look at, he, in a way like that, is a little bit like Broadway Joe, right? We've seen a lot of pretty girls around his arms. Seems to always be dating a very, very pretty woman, right? But now there's this rumor of this. And again, it's coming from the ex-girlfriend, and the comment was since deleted. I don't 100% believe it. Again, it just doesn't feel, again, Zach Wilson, I'm not saying it's wrong. That's why, again, if you noticed before, I was like, because I'm trying to think of like the best way to approach it. Like, I'm not saying it's, obviously cheating is wrong, right? Obviously cheating on his girlfriend is wrong, right? That he shouldn't have done that. Obviously should have broke up with her. But sleeping with an older woman, there's nothing wrong with that per se. Interesting road of conversation we're going down. But so allegedly sleeps with his best friend's mom. We saw the comments on Twitter, right? It was like huge, right? It was, everyone's like, oh my God, everyone's loving it, right? Everyone's like, Zach Wilson is the man, right? He's the god, right? Like he's hooking up with all the women, like, and then people made those comparisons, right? And I thought about the same thing, and I saw them, and I was like, yeah, it makes sense, with guys like Broadway Joe, because we do always see Zach Wilson, usually around pretty girls, dating a very pretty girl. So it's interesting, right? So that was, so like Dark Soldier points out, he says, it was his mom's best friend. That's what makes it crazy, right? Friend's mother. My apologies. I was saying it wrong. My bad. I was mixing it up, and that's an important distinction, right? Important distinction. Not friend's mother, right? Not the mother. And I want to clarify that. Not the mother of one of his friends. It was a friend, or the best friend, really, if I'm remembering correctly, and I'll bring it up right here. That was mom's best friend, right? That he's sleeping with his mom's best friend. So I again find that, like, you look at that, like mom's best friend, like he points out, I don't think he would do that. I mean, it could cause problems with his mom, obviously. I think it's I think it's not true. I think it's not true. I think it's just, again, an ex saying crap, and it taking off, and like I said, since deleted, right? She since deleted it, but I think it's just, again, could be scorn from prior relationship. Might maybe thought it was funny, was making a joke, didn't think it would take off like that, but again, people liked it, right? Like the majority consensus was people liked it, right? Like I saw that on social media. The majority consensus was people were like, man, like Zach Wilson is the man. Even Chad Zonson was like, Zach Wilson's the GOAT. So it's cool, right? Like you look at it, like, you look at old movies, like when I was younger, like that was like, oh, that's a cool move. You know what I mean? So, it's cool to feel like your quarterback's that guy. And I think that's like with it with Broadway Joe, you know what I mean? Exhibits that like coolness. Like it's not just super talent, but he's a cool dude. And again, Broadway Joe, you're always surrounded by, pretty women. Not saying, again, not any sexist comments whatsoever. Don't think I'm saying that. But I'm just saying, people liked that, right? And it was, again, a lot of jokes made about it yesterday. The general consensus was not negativity, right? The general consensus was joking and positivity. Not like, oh, shame, shame, shame. The majority was, oh, that's hysterical. Or, oh, he's amazing. Like, who else but Zach? Like, saying like Zach's like Broadway, like we were saying. So, again, I'll be honest again, what Iowa Jets fan wrote. He says, for example, again, please guys, bring your comments, bring, but let me know what you're thinking. Let me know your thoughts. I'll throw them up. We'll talk about them. So he said, Zach's mom's an influencer. Zach's new girl's an influencer. Maybe the mom's best friend line is a reference to something. It could be something as simple as that. Because I mean, remember, I looked it up and the comment was deleted. There's no been identify, right? Like it hasn't been, this is the best friend of Zach's mom. This is the woman. Maybe it's her, right? It seems like this was, again, Could have been like Iowa Jet fan points out, right? That's an excellent point, man. I mean, influencers, they want clicks, right? They got to get clicks. They got to make a story. So maybe she thought it was funny, or, maybe she just thought it would get clicks, like that, depending. But I'm going to be honest, from what I think, I don't believe it's true. That's just, I don't believe it's true. If it is, I, I, I guess I'm indifferent about it. I think it's bad, if we cover it for quickly, I think it's, bad that he cheated. Obviously, you shouldn't cheat. If he liked her, the older woman, then he could get with her, but he should break up with his girlfriend. That's the truth of it. But, like Iowa points out, he says, exes can be snarky. Abby hears about new girls and says, oh, she must be his mom's best friend, and then refers to her. So things happen, it could just be stories, right? Stories get spread. And again, it started with this Instagram story because, again, like Broadway Joe, Zach's a bit of he's a bit of a player, right? He gets the pretty women. I mean, not a bad looking dude, quarterback in the NFL, right, of a New York franchise, up and coming star. He's surrounded by the pretty women, and people like that. People seem to like that. They like to, and it could be, maybe because people like to see themselves, like, maybe, like, oh, and just, just to introspective thinking about it. People like to maybe, see themselves and be like, oh, I could, be surrounded by that. Who knows? But that, yeah. So I don't 100% back, without spending too much time on it. I don't 100%. I don't believe it's true. I don't believe it's true, even if it is. I mean, honestly, you guys can let me know. Tell me what you think. Honestly, like I said, it's a conversation, right? We're having a chat. We're having a conversation. So tell me what you think. If you think it's abysmal. Again, I think he shouldn't have cheated. That's how I look at it. That's wrong. And again, I don't even know if Zach would do that. Again, this could all be BS. It could be that, like, Zach would never be a cheater, maybe. So that's how we know the story's BS, right? And that's why it was removed. And again, it could have been a joke, or it could have been, again, just, her upset. Right? They're not together anymore. She sees him with a new guy. Right? We've all been there, right? You're broke up with an ex, maybe you're looking at, her social media or something, you see she's with a new guy. I mean, obviously you don't start rumors. Maybe you do. I don't know. Maybe you do. Maybe you do. But you're not happy, right? Like you're upset in that moment. So maybe in her upsetness, she lashed out. She thought it would be, something like, oh, who knows? And like Michael pointed out, Michael says, we don't know if they broke up because of the mom's best friend. That could be unrelated. We just don't know, right? Like we don't know. Like it's all speculation. It's based on one comment. That's kind of the point. That's why I don't think there's a lot of weight to it. It's based on a comment that she made on, I believe, again, it was U Stadium's Twitter post, and then deleted it, and that was it, right? Like that was it. So again, coming at it, I believe Zach Wilson is a very high character kid. I've said that for a long time, right? I believe that Zach Wilson is a very high character kid. I believe he carries himself the right way. And we've seen it in the way his teammates, talk about him, saying that he's committed, he's dedicated, right? He does the right things. He focuses on the little things. He's super intelligent. Again, I don't know him personally. It's true. I don't. I wish I did. That'd be pretty cool. I wish I could sit here and tell you guys me and Zach chill on weekends. That'd be pretty freaking cool. But that's not the case. So I don't honestly know, but I do believe, based on what I've seen in him, that he's a high character person. And like Robert Saleh, we look at the system, that's who he brings in, right? Robert Saleh always said he brings in high character people, right? Even Breece Hall said that, right? If you don't buy into the system, get out, right? There's a system here. There's a process. Like things are done a certain way. Things are done a certain way. Business is conducted a certain way. If you don't buy into it, there's the door, right? So I don't 100% buy it. I don't. I do believe it's a wrong allegation. Again, even if he did sleep, I believe it was, I don't want to say, I believe it was Dark Soldier. I apologize. Like Michael points out, that we don't believe they broke up because the mom's best friend. I apologize who exactly brought it up, but one of you guys gave me the idea that, it could have happened after, right? That he could have broken up with her and then slept with the best friend of the mom, right? We have to be clear with that, like, because I, again, misspoke that before. It's the mom's best friend, right? It's the mom's best friend. So interesting, right? Like Dark Soldier says, he says, I didn't take it as he cheated on her. She just said sleeping with and did not say, well, he cheated on me with his mom. So that's true. That's a valid distinction. That's true, right? That she didn't say that he cheated on me. I guess I took it like that because I took it, and again, I found the exact quote. I remember I looked at it. Someone had put a picture up. They said was sleeping with. So I kind of took it as like multiple times is the way she was insinuating it, like it had happened multiple times. But yeah, again, we don't know that, right? She didn't say cheated. If she really wanted to, screw with Zach or drag him to the coals, why not, really hit it where it hurts, right? Why not say the man's not just sleeping with an older woman, he cheated on me, right? Like he's a dirty cheater. So let's clarify that. That's a good point. I do want to, again, that's again, I love, having the conversation with you guys, love, talking this out because that's a good point, right? It actually makes sense. If this is a negativity she's trying to instigate, why wouldn't she instigate it to the most, right? Like if it was cheating, she'd say that. So again, high caliber kid, Zach Wilson, high caliber kid. Even if he's sleeping with an older woman, I know I said before I was going to come back to it. That was my whole first take. My apologies. I think we talked about it for a while. So I love that. You guys, please bring your comments. Like we said, we'll chat it out. But the second part of it, it doesn't matter. That's really the second part and the part I was trying to get to, but we kept talking, which again, I love, keep talking to you guys. But the second part is it doesn't matter, right? What does it matter? What matters is what he does on the field. What matters is the kind of quarterback that Zach Wilson becomes. We win a lot of games. We become an excellent NFL team. We make the playoffs. No one gives a shit if Zach Wilson's sleeping with his mom's best friend or his grandma's best friend for that matter. Zach can do whatever he wants at that point if he keeps winning, right? That's what matters. So again, all this craziness, it comes down, doesn't matter, right? So we talk about, what is this? What is that? Again, I think he's a high caliber kid. If anything, it's going to make people question his character potentially. If you look at could be wrong. Could be wrong. Could be like the Will Smith situation where at first Hollywood was like, yeah, this is awesome. Then was like, oh my God, this is horrible. Maybe people will start, in a day or two to question his character, right? The negative people, the people with the negativity coming out of the thing going, well, wait a minute, maybe Zach Wilson has character concerns, right? So you hear that kind of stuff. I don't think that's true, right? I don't believe that's the kind of kid we have here. I don't at all. I think this is 100% the guy. But again, it doesn't matter. It matters what he does on the field. We talked before about the chemistry he had with his teammates, the love he has with his teammates, how well they're all playing together. How he has an early command of this offense, how he's working on the things that he was not struggling with last year, like getting his eyes and feet in the same place. He's working on the little things. He's getting better, right? So that, again, it doesn't really matter, right? All that matters is what our man does on the field. All that matters is the play we see. And that kind of leads us into the same kind of point I have with the second one. So the first thing I wanted to talk to you guys about was the Zach Wilson situation, obviously. But again, rumors, or we said rumors, I don't believe they're true. And again, like we said, in the end, it doesn't really matter, right? What matters is he does on the football field. What matters is that, right? And that kind of ties into this one. So the second one was ESPN insider Dan Graziano just a couple of days ago. It was like 5 days ago or so-ish, reported that the Jets coaching staff was frustrated that Mekhi Becton was overweight. But he does have the support of the front office that drafted him. So we look at the situation of what had come out. Basically, Graziano and everything he stated, I read the whole thing. And my reaction after, if you guys might remember my video we did, I think it was last Monday, I believe, the last Mondays on Mekhi Becton in the situation, his take from what he got from them was basically what I kind of said. And I listened to it and I was like, my reaction to what Dan Graziano said about them being frustrated that Mekhi Becton's overweight, would like to see him in the weight they would hope he could be in, but they believe he can still be the guy. I was like, well, duh. I mean, I'm glad that they got an inside opinion on this, but kind of duh, right? Like, I mean, I was like, this is obvious. Like this is obviously like it's unfortunate, but we saw he came back overweight. And if you guys remember, we talked about this last Monday, right? We talked about, as you guys remember, I'm a huge Mekhi Becton fan, right? Like I loved this kid, as we talked about, out of Louisville. Thought he had an outstanding rookie year. Thought he was a big kid, but again, didn't have injuries in the past. Was very, very, very athletic for his size. Loved his potential. Thought he'd be honestly like what Jordan Mailata's become. That's a perfect example of what I expected Mekhi to really fruition into, but sooner because he was such a high pick. Excuse me. But he has come in overweight. And as we know, we've talked about it as well, he missed the voluntary parts. And as we said, it's voluntary. We get it. But from what we saw, he was working, right? He was working with Duke Manyweather, his trainer, and he was working his ass off, right? We were watching videos all off season of this dude like benching 400 plus pounds lying on the freaking floor, like throwing ropes, lifting huge, carrying huge weights on his shoulder across the gym, like just killing it. And we're like, man, he looks great. Comes in again after missing the whole voluntary part. And he was heavy. We noted that. We didn't want to admit it. And I talked about it on my show. It was kind of like, that's why I joked elephant in the room, right? Because we didn't want to talk about it. We were like, oh, well, he's back. We love it. He's back. Shit, he looks really big. But we're happy he's back. And if you guys remember, I talked about it last Monday as well. I'm not one to fat shame, right? I hate the idea of fat shaming. But again, he's an NFL player. He's an NFL player, like we talked about as well, playing at this level, making many, many millions of dollars. So at this point, yes, you need to be in shape. You need to be at the point where you can play and successfully play. And Mekhi Becton, as we well know, was the 11th overall pick. He was a very high pick in the 2020 draft. And he had an excellent rookie season, like we talked about. He missed last year, and again, not because he was injury prone. It wasn't like he kept getting injuries, but like we talked about, it took him a long time to recover from that injury. So not injury prone yet. Again, the key word is yet, because we're going to have to see. But there's all these rumors, right? Again, the insider, ESPN insider Dan Graziano comes out saying that they're frustrated that Mekhi Becton was overweight. And my reaction was duh, right? I mean, I said it on the show as well. I thought Connor Hughes kind of pointed that out, and he made a really good point, right? He made a really good point that this Jets coaching staff has gone out of their way to point out the things that have gone according to agenda, right? Like, oh, Zach Wilson, beefier, right? Beefier, meatier, stronger. Brandon Echols looks beefier, they said. They announced everything that met and came to par. If Mekhi Becton had come in at like 350 or even 360 something, they would have been like, he did it. He hit weight. He's ready to go. And he looked big. We saw it. I mean, he looked athletic. He looked athletic in what we saw, but he also looked big. So all these factors come in. It comes down to, again, them being frustrated. There's the coaching staff, but the front office saying they still has their full support. And again, that it's interesting. For the first time, really for the first time, you see a little bit of a disconnect. Not a big one. Just not a big one. It's not freak out. But a little bit of a disconnect between the coaching staff and the front office. Usually Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh are like, humming on all cylinders, like at 100% at the same page. So Joe Douglas and them fully believe in Mekhi Becton. They believe he can be the guy. Again, Joe Douglas was a former offensive lineman. So maybe he has a more unique perspective, right, in the way he looks at it. But he believes Mekhi can still be the guy, obviously. And I think the coaching staff does as well, but they've expressed frustration, and rightfully so, right? Like we talked about, he was the 11th overall pick. We expect him to be the guy. He missed voluntary time. We expected him to come back ready to go, right? Like, it's not, again, I hate the idea of fat shaming, but it's not me, right? If it's you or me on social media, then yeah, the guy that's doing it's a dick. But he's an NFL player playing at a high. He needs to be in shape. But as we've seen, he can play at a high level at a big weight. So I think the final take of this, and maybe you guys will agree, maybe you won't. Again, please take to the comments, right? Tell me you agree, you disagree, tell me what you think. Happy to, love to, bring it up and talk about it. But I think it comes down to the same thing like with the Zach Wilson situation. What matters is what happens on the field, right? That's what matters. What matters is what happens on the field. If Mekhi Becton, let's say, plays this season at 375, let's say, or 380, but he doesn't get hurt, he plays exceptionally well, and he's a dominant, I think he's going to be a right tackle, honestly. I'll be honest. I think he's going to be right, but let's say left or right, dominant left or right tackle. Next year, maybe, just as good as he was his rookie season, maybe better. Again, doesn't get hurt, plays extremely well. Is anyone at the end of the season going to be like, man, Mekhi was amazing, but he's still a little heavy? I mean, but at the same time, right, he can get in really good shape, right? But his play on the field is what matters. If he drops down to 320 and everyone's like, oh my God, Mekhi Becton has transformed his body, and then he looks like dog shit on the field, ain't no one going to be like, oh, well, at least he looks great. You guys know ain't nobody saying that. So it's the field. It's what he does on the field that matters. So I think the point is obviously being too heavy is a problem, and that's the issue. He's too big. He can be big, right? He can be 360, even 370 something, he's proven. But he's too big right now. I believe they were saying that he was coming in at 390, 395, almost 400. Some even said over 400. That is a problem. I mean, again, like we talked about, though, we've seen guys like, again, it's an interesting situation because we've seen guys like Vince Wilfork. You guys remember him? Vince Wilfork used to play at like 360 something, 370 something, but he outran running backs. You guys remember that? This dude was like, it was freakish. It was weird. And I felt the same with Mekhi. That's why I loved him when we drafted him. I'm like, this dude is so freaking big and so massive and strong, but he's fat. He is ridiculously fast. Again, it looks fast on TV. If you've seen Mekhi live, it will shock the shit out of you. He is massively fast for his size. So again, it really comes down to what he plays at, right? That's really what the whole thing is going to come down to. Is he going to have a dominant season or not? Obviously, losing weight can play a good factor, and he seems dedicated, right? I'll give perfect examples. We saw the the Instagram footage that he put out on July 4th weekend where he was working, right? A lot of people are celebrating July 4th weekend. He was grinding. Another big one, I put it out on Twitter. If you guys hadn't seen it, I broke it on Twitter. It was just about a week or so ago. Duke Manyweather, his coach, said that what he does is he wakes up at 4 a.m. every morning and he pushes and pulls sleds for an hour straight. An hour straight at 4 a.m. Duke Manyweather pushes and pulls sleds every single day. He said that it's hard and it's repetitive. That's what he said. He also said that all the players think he's nuts, that all the players think he's crazy. However, he said 2 players join him every day. And one of those players, lo and behold, was Mekhi Becton. So again, we hear this, that he's been working all summer with Duke Manyweather. And again, guys, please, tell me what you guys are thinking. Let me know what your comments, what you're thinking. But we hear all summer that he's working with Duke, right? That he's busting his ass, and we see it. We see footage of him working his ass off. We see him working his ass off now. We see him, he says every morning at 4 a.m., Mekhi Becton joins Duke Manyweather and pulls and pushes sleds for an hour straight. I'm trying to wrap my head around how he's still overweight, right? Like, he's putting the work in. Is he just eating like massive? Like, I don't know. And again, I hate to be like that guy. Like, I feel bad saying, is he eating too much? Like, it pains me to even, like, it's crazy. But he's putting the work in, right? Like, he's busting his ass. So again, he probably should lose a little bit of weight for health reasons too, obviously. But if he can play an excellent season, again, we've seen him busting his ass all summer with Duke Manyweather, right? Not being like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm too heavy. No, in the press conferences and interviews, you heard him. He was cocky as shit, and I loved it. He's like, I'm going to make him eat. Like, he turned it around. Like, he turned the fat jokes around on them, remember? He's like, I'm going to make him eat their words. Remember? He's like, they're going to stop laughing. Like, he was just telling it. Like, he's like, this is happening. So, remember, even he nicknamed himself Big Bust. It was a joke, right? Why would he admit that? So, again, it's weird because, again, we look at this whole situation. He's been busting his ass like crazy all summer, killing it. Again, he missed the voluntary parts. Because he missed the voluntary parts, we all felt the same way. We're like, you know what? He's having a baby. That's cool. He's having a baby, but we expected him to come back ready. The mentality, again, from the coaching staff is that he's not ready, that he needs to get in better shape. Again, we see him busting his ass. So maybe he will, right? And again, it all comes down to his play. That's what I think the whole point of the story comes down to. It all comes down to his play. If Mekhi Becton has an unfreaking believable season, doesn't get hurt, plays the whole season, is unfreaking believable. Him and George Fant may be 2 of the best. I mean, let's think about that for a sec, right? Like, you guys know I love offensive lines. Like, it's just like football is won and lost in the trenches. The offensive line opens the hole for the running back, allows the receiving game to open up, everything. It's the bloodline of the offense. With George Fant and Mekhi Becton, if Mekhi plays at that level, we have 2 of the best tackle duos in the NFL. And then between Lakin and ABT, we have one of the best guard duos in the NFL. So, man, our offensive line is stacked. Joe Douglas said, Zach Wilson, I see you. I see you, and I'm going to make this work. It's not going to be like freaking Sam Darnold, unfortunately, with McCagnon laying his quarterback out to dry with nothing and no weapons. This team is stacked, baby, and I love it. But we come back again. I transgress because I start talking about Joe Douglas and Zach Wilson. I get excited, but I transgress back to the Mekhi Becton situation. And again, please tell me your guys' comments. Let me know what you're thinking. If you have an idea, a thought, maybe you agree, disagree. But I think again, it's an interesting situation because we look at the whole thing again. It's weird. It's like, why is he not in better shape if he's been working as hard as he has? Right? Because he's been working as hard as he has, does that mean he's still athletic and ready to go, even though he's a bit overweight? Right? These are all questions that we need answers for. And I think as the pads go on, as they start to hit each other, as the preseason begins, we're going to get that answer. And it would be nice, as I mentioned on my show on Monday, it would be nice, Mekhi, just saying, again, I hate fat shaming, hate it. But again, as an NFL player, like we said, at that elite level, to show commitment, it would be good to show that you lost a little bit of weight. If they could say by the time the season begins, Mekhi Becton was, I don't know, they said at worst 405, 410. Let's say they say Mekhi Becton is now 360 something or even 370 something. That's big. That's losing weight. That's showing trending in the right direction. So that'd be big. That'd be huge. I think that's important. I would really, really like to see that. I think all Jet fans would too. But again, it comes down to the play on the field, right? It comes down to the play on the field. I believe, again, this kid, when healthy, has the potential to be one of the next great tackles in the NFL. And you don't have to take my word for it, because if you guys well remember, back going into 2021, before Mekhi got hurt, he was projected to be one of the next breakout tackles in the NFL. So again, with the play we got from George Fant last year, what we have in Lakin and AVT, I mentioned it before, Connor McGovern's our weakest link. And I've never been the hugest fan of McGovern, but again, last year was one of the better centers in the league, with better guard play around him. With that line, man, that's stacked. That's stacked on stacked, and I can't wait. So if you guys have any other, comments or questions or anything you want to, bring up, please let me know. I can throw it up on the board. We could, if you have any other topics you want me to bring up or any other questions you wanted to address, but please let me know. But I really appreciate you guys tuning in. It's an absolute pleasure to do this with you guys. Again, bring it in the chat. I love to, throw your guys' comments up. We'll talk about it. Again, you can agree with me, disagree with me. You could say, I think a different thing. We'll chat about it. We'll talk about it. It's a conversation. That's what it's all about, man. I like to talk about it with you guys, chat it up about them Jets. Also bring you news, right? Also bring you news and takes and updates and player quotes and all that fun stuff. But I like to chat with you guys as well, So please, bring any questions, anything you're thinking, anything like that. But again, I appreciate you guys tuning in. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Appreciate you guys being here. Thank you for being a part. Thank you for being in the podcast. As you know, I'm going to bring you guys shows throughout the week. I'm trying to bring you more content, bring you more of my takes on the New York Jets. So I'm going to bring you stuff throughout the week as we go. But again, thank you for tuning in. As you know, every Monday we'll be here, this live podcast where we'll chat. We'll talk about the Jets. You tell me what you're thinking. You tell me your thoughts. We'll go back and forth. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys, man. Love my Jets family. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being here. Hope you have a great, great rest of your day. And remember, baby, I've been saying it. We're trending up. We're trending up. Joe Douglas is taking us there. Zach Wilson, Robert Saleh. It's beautiful, baby. It's beautiful. And we are going places. Thank you again. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. Let's go, Jets.